You know, real schoolers, I'm sure I'm not alone in thinking that this movie kind of looked interesting. A movie about young scientists experimenting with bringing people back from the dead? No. It's much more than that, because the Lazarus serum in the movie has this effect that... Oh, that's why they called it that. This effect that gives the central female character the ability to use 100% of her brain. No, it's a movie where our female heroine is caught in a hell-like purgatory? The supernatural killer brings her victims into a nightmare dimension? No? The horror movie where the black guy dies first? Son of a... The Lazarus Effect, a horror movie where the most horrific thing isn't the horror. What can you say about a supernatural thriller that 14-year-olds are allowed to see in theaters? Well, probably the same thing that you would say about remakes of classic action movies and zombie films that are also PG-13. You know what most people say about those movies. Nah, I haven't seen it. It was fairly evident that writers Luke Dawson and Jeremy Slater were borrowing heavily from several films, most notably Flatliners, as the plot revolves around scientists resurrecting people and the eerie things that they might bring back from the other side. Meanwhile, the horrors that Dawson and Slater bring with them are their writing resumes. Dawson wrote the not-so-classic Shudder, and Slater has actually penned the Fantastic Four remake. Something tells me it ain't gonna be so fantastic. The issue with borrowing from so many other films is that they never truly try to be their own film, and as a result, they never give the script the attention it deserves. As a result of that, there were tons of unanswered questions. And be warned, this is close to spoilers, but considering I didn't really get it, what exactly am I spoiling? It's no secret that Olivia Wilde's character Zoe is the one who's resurrected, and while they try to explain that the Lazarus serum is what gives her eerie telekinetic powers, they never try to explain why she goes on a murderous spree. One reason that the writers kind of touch on might have been that when she was younger, Zoe was involved in a horrific fire and so has reoccurring nightmares. The other reason is she may have tried to cross over when she died and got stuck. So why is she evil? Was she born that way? Did her time in the hell dimension make her evil? Did she bring something back with her? Never mind the philosophy of this film, or lack thereof. The so-called science is just, if not more so, laughable, and the opening montage, where the students are trying to resurrect a pig, is a perfect example. Can you turn up the omega levels? Vitals are still negative. Generic movie medical terms. As I had mentioned, there's also the trope of trying the experiment on animals first, the pig, and then they resurrect a dog. And the dog comes back creepy, and evidently also has telekinetic powers. The dog is telekinetic. I don't care if the dog's brain is operating at 100%. I think telekinesis is aiming a little high. I think a super intelligent, super evolved dog would just settle for not pooping outside. And why was the dog evil? Did he start a fire when he was a puppy? If I had to pigeonhole this film into just 2 words, it would be wasted opportunity. And while that definitely starts with the writing, it continues with the cast. The cast was actually one of the major draws for me, starting with Olivia Wilde, and while I loved her in House, she hasn't really blown me away in any film other than maybe Tron Legacy and Her. I think that's what you get for playing Timberlake's mom. Evan Peters was seemingly a perfect choice for a horror film. He's really made a name for himself in American Horror Story, and he's coming fresh off his amazing work in X-Men Days of Future Past. But his character is such a horror film stereotype that it's no fun and very much not enjoyable. Speaking of horror movie stereotypes, the token horror movie black guy was played by Childish Gambino himself, Donald Glover, but being such a fan of his work from Community, seeing him in this film was just painful. I find it extremely interesting that the cast is almost completely made up of actors who made a name for themselves in television shows. Although I admit, I had to look up who The League's Mark Duplass was. Cause why the hell did he get top billing? He's not the main character, he's not a bigger star than Olivia Wilde. Unfortunately, after this film, nobody's star is gonna get any bigger. It was clearly a paycheck for most of them, and really a waste of talent. The real waste will come if you spend any time or money on this film. It's horror movie trope after horror movie trope. There's no time invested in the plot or tension. There's jump scares after cheap jump scares. The violence is even subdued because of the PG-13 rating. In fact, it is one of the most uninspired horror films I have seen in a very long time. So like the evil puppy did to the doghouse, it's a burn it. Hashtag evil puppy. Poll question, who is your favorite character that came back from the dead? As always, leave your answers in the comment section below. Be sure to subscribe to Real School, follow me on Twitter, and of course, if you get anything out of Real School, you can always give a little back. Just click the link and you can become a Real School patron. But until next time, school's out.